Welcome to Daytona International Speedway. Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of our NASCAR iRacing career mode here on the channel. I hope you're all having a great day. Today we have the Daytona 500 coming your way, but of course we have a lot of things coming this season with a 25 race schedule, which you can see on your screen right there if you want to pause it and see where we're going when we wrap up the season officially. It'll be at Homestead, Miami. There are no playoffs, a lot of rules changes that we'll go over in this episode if you may have missed the offseason episode. But before we jump into any of this Cup Series action, we had a couple of races to decide beforehand, and that started with the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series. Bradley Cole would actually come out on top here from Daytona in that 00 Taco Bell Chevrolet Silverado, so he would pick up the first win of the year here in the Truck Series. No playoffs at all in the Truck Series, Xfinity Series, or Cup Series, so it's just an overall points situation from start to finish. No gimmicks involved here. Now, as we came through into the Xfinity Series a day later here, and it was Justin Allgaier dueling it out with Landon Castle, our former teammate in the Xfinity Series here, as they came through out of turn 4 down the front straightaway. It was Landon Castle, though, who had the momentum on his side. He would come through to win in the Xfinity Series here in Daytona, 3 wide at the line. Matt O'Brien up there in the top 3 as well in his debut for Joe Gibbs Racing. Joey Stone up there in the mix. But then we would jump through into the Cup Series here for the Daytona 500 weekend, as we were very, very excited to get this now Cup Series debut underway. We had the Clash in the last episode. Was an absolute blast there at the Las Vegas Bull Ring, but now I was excited to get Daytona racing here for the Daytona 500. You could hear the pre-race concert there in the background performed by DJ Marshmello now as we were ready to get to the grid. 40 cars here, of course, and a lot of roster changes and whatnot. We're gonna look at some of those roster changes here on the grid as we get ready to go green here. And now a bit scattered cloudy conditions here, but no threat of rain here, thank goodness, from Daytona. So all the weather is looking good, and we should have a start to finish race here without any weather implications now, as it was time to get this Daytona 500 underway. Unfortunately, with this Trackhouse debut, we start at the back of the grid. Alright boys, the Clash was fun, and once again, thank you for taking a chance on me, and let's go make it happen today. As you guys know, part of the storyline, we came in from the road racing background here now, as we are very, very excited to get this thing going. There you see the points format. First place gets 40 points, 25th place gets 1 point, 26 on down gets no points. Pause the screen if you want to get a better look at it here. Now, as there's a lot of changes with oval races, 3 stages. Stage 1 and 2 winner earns 5 points. Nobody else gets anything. And then in the road courses, we now have added sprint races, 15 points spread across the top 10. 10th place gets 1 point, second 9 points, first gets 15. So basically 1 point through 9 points for the 10th to second, and then 15 points for the driver that gets P1 in the sprints. There you see the driver moves. Jay Cook jumps up to colleague racing in that number 31 car. Michael Cozy Jr. goes to the Starcom 98. Brandon Jones, 2311 Racing 96 car. Ty Gibbs in the 2311 45 car. Harrison Burton to Wood Brothers Racing in the 21. Creed up to RCR in the 13. Austin Cindric to the 4th Penske car in the 33. And here we have myself in the number 1 car here as we're ready to go this time by. Now, before we get underway here, just want to say thank you for the continued support throughout this series. Now, not a lot of episodes going out lately because I was trying to do some good timing with the start of the real season, but from this point on, you're going to see the episodes start to roll out multiple times per week. Probably I'm aiming for 2 a week is kind of what I'm looking at, maybe 3 here and there, but mainly I'm looking to get 2 episodes of this series out every single week from this point on here. Now, I'm going to let, of course, the Daytona 500 episode settle before we move on, but nonetheless, getting ready to go green flag racing. Kyle Busch, Joey Logano lead the field to the green flag here for the Daytona 500. Denny Hamlin up there in the mix. David Schildhouse there in the mix as well for Rick Ware Racing. Already a stack up on the outside. Joey Logano did not get going at all. The 2018 champion, the 2015 Daytona 500 winner. A terrible start there for the Penske driver. Now, as we would all continue, though, fortunately in the right direction here. And now is a bit of a weird start, to say the least, now as we head down the back straightaway on this opening lap. I was on the inside and I started at the very back, but we had already made up some ground here in just a couple of corners due to those checkups and whatnot. But we unfortunately lose some ground right here down the back straightaway into turn 3. But you're going to see a lot of chaos in this 50 lap race. And keep in mind, we have 3 stages, of course. Stage 1 will come to a close at at the completion of lap 10. And the stage winner is the only driver with this new points format that picks up a point, and they get 5 extra points. No playoff points because, well, no more playoffs. Denny Hamlin to the front of the grid now. David Schildhouse there still up in the mix at the end of this first lap. He nearly led the first lap. We'll hear from David Schildhouse a little bit later in this episode on his outlook coming into this season. Now as I've jumped up to the top here on this second lap down the back straightaway here, 3x3 racing already. These guys have not hesitated whatsoever to get this race action-packed right off the bat here. Brandon Jones up there in that Menards number 96 2311 Toyota Camry. He jumped up to the top as well here, and I would actually get settled in behind that 96 for a brief amount of time here as it came through to this fourth lap of many. Now, as you can see, continuous 3-wide racing. Eric Almirola on our inside. He will be retiring not only from real NASCAR at the end of this season, but from the My Driver Series as well. At the end of the season, the 21 car of Harrison Burton, a Cup Series rookie, into the outside wall right there, and maybe Austin Dillon picked up a little bit of damage as well, and we're going to go on board with that 21 here. He made some contact with the Rick Ware driver of James Davison and into the outside wall. He went a bunch of right side damage there, especially on the right front, and that could be an early exit there from Harrison Burton's chances at a Daytona 500 victory. As that's happening, I was glued to the back of the 96 of Brandon Jones, and we went to the front of the pack already. It's crazy how the momentum was shifting throughout this pack. The energy was just continuously moving around, and here I was all of a sudden second place down the front straightaway. But just as quick as we move forward, well, we can move backwards just as quick as well. I had now Ryan Blaney in that 12 car just behind me, but look at Chase Briscoe with help from William Byron. They would go by on the outside. I would get clear of the 96 on the inside and kind of make a mistake right here, because jumping down to the inside, not maybe where you want to be against the iRacing AI, especially on these plate tracks, but I tried to, of course, experiment the best I could early on in this race, but unfortunately, I kind of paid the price for it. I fell all the way to the back of the pack along with Brandon Jones. Now, as I was going up to the top once again where I'm more comfortable, I was hoping that we would be able to move our way forwards, and once again, just like we went to the front, we went to the back. Well, now we're going back to the front. I had Jeff Fabiano just behind myself there on the exit of 4. We're just behind our former Xfinity Series rival, actually, of Jay Cook, and felt a little bit awkward pushing him basically to the front. I nearly hooked him in the right rear right there, but I actually jumped to the outside of him. We're going to try and take the lead again, coming already to the final lap of stage 1, but it's not going to work out in my favor right here as we came through to start the final lap of the stage. Now to the outside of that number 31, Kyle Larson goes to the top. This Clash winner, actually, in the last episode. He's got help from Michael Cozy Jr. I'm hung out 3 wide in the middle. I'm side drafting that 31. Cook probably already not liking me as we go down this back straightaway. We were looking for a stage win. Now it's like we're not even going to get into the top 10 as we go down this back straightaway into turn 3. Cozy to the lead, but here goes Brandon Jones to the outside. The Cup Series rookie Sheldon Creed just in behind. Chastain in the 42 on the outside as they exit turn 4. It's going to be side by side down the front straightaway, but Brandon Jones has the advantage down through the tri-oval. He will win stage 1 and 5 points to his name as we cross the line to complete this first and opening stage. And wow, what a stage of racing it was to get this season kicked off here from the Daytona 500. Very happy with how things worked out there. Obviously, we didn't finish where we wanted to there in stage 1, so we have some work for us here in stage 2. But we would come into the pit lane, very easy call here, 4 tires, fill it up on feel, and see where we can go from that point on. But I mean, a great start so far to this first and opening stage. Really the main goal at this point, keep the car clean. It's very difficult to do that when you're racing against these AI when it comes to these restrictor plate races, and I was a bit surprised with what was happening here on the pit lane, because for some reason you see actually contact between Ryan Blaney and his teammate of Austin Cindric, whose paint scheme didn't load, but I would take pretty much the lead out of the pit lane because everybody was so slow. I was not expecting that. A very odd call, but to the lead we go. And wow, yeah, we'll be right back from the Daytona 500. Back from Daytona here, now in Daytona, Florida, ready to go green for the start of the second stage here now, as so far so good for us, keeping this car in one piece. You're just trying to keep this thing in good shape until these final closing laps, and now we're going to be on the front row alongside James Davison. Actually here, he's going to be leading the way. He stayed out under the caution, so interesting strategy there from the Australian. Now as we're going to get though underway for the start of stage 2 here from Daytona, Daytona International Speedway for the start of the second stage, we might as well bring in the amp segment here. So let's get amped from the Daytona 500. Lots of action here at the conclusion of the AMP segment. Michael Cozy Jr., James Davison up at the front of this pack as they go down into turn one. Michael Cozy Jr. Brought back Starcom Racing from shutting down, basically saved that team, and now here he is on what could be arguably his dream team now here in the Cup Series as he tries to pilot that team to a Cup Series championship this season. A big stack up there on the outside, and we are moving here on the top, and we would continue to move our way forwards here. The 3 wide, though, would start to pick up, and stage 2 comes to a close as soon as we complete lap 24. Kyle Larson, he was side by side with his Hendrick Motorsports teammate at William Byron, but we're going to continue on the outside here on the exit of turn 4, just behind Todd Gilliland in the 38 car. One of the, I think, 3 cars that would refuse to load the paint scheme of it was Cindric, Gilliland, as well as Alex Bowman, that I just couldn't get the paint schemes to load for here. Now as we go down towards turn 1, you can just see that momentum and how it changes as this pack continues to race on, and now I lost a bunch of time here on the exit of turn 2, and just like that, we were once again outside of the top 10, top 15, and down towards the mid part of the pack. And as we came through, approaching these final couple of laps in stage 2, we continued to just kind of commit here to the top. I saw the potential of this top lane. The inside lane was really the lane I wanted to avoid the most, and unfortunately, though, we kind of got hung here by ourselves on the outside as we would try to get down, and things kind of calmed down here. You see a lot of 2x2 all of a sudden towards the end of the stage, this now being the final lap actually of this second stage, and all of a sudden, look at all the ground we just lost here to this main pack in front of us as we try to block that 22 of Joey Logano, doing what Logano does best on Joey Logano. But it's Brandon Jones again who won stage 1. He leads the way out of turn 4. Briscoe on the top with a run, but it's not going to be enough. Brandon Jones will sweep the first 2 stages here in the Daytona 500, and now we'll pick up an extra 5 points, 10 points already to start the season for Brandon Jones here now from the Daytona 500. So a really, really good start there for the 2311 Racing rookie. I was still happy, of course, with where I was. We were P14. We honestly aren't really coming into this expecting to win, but we would still like to get a better finish than P14. We want to at least get a top 10 there. I actually missed my pit box. A little bit of an embarrassing moment when that was a mistake that really didn't need to happen here. Now, as you see, some cars remain on the racetrack here as we'll be right back here from the Daytona 500 and ready to go for stage 3.
I'm just excited to get to the track and go racing. There have been a lot of steps taken during the offseason to position Rick Ware Racing as a true contender in the NASCAR Cup Series. The biggest step was strengthening our technical alliance with Hendrick Motorsports, and that should provide an immediate boost to our performance. I believe that we're prepared to win races every time we unload at the racetrack, and I can't wait to prove it.
There you hear David Schulthouse here on his outlook with this Rick Ware Racing team to start this season here in the My Driver Series. He's been strong so far here in the Daytona 500, but can he get a strong finish as Stage 3 is underway? 2 stages already complete, and the final run remains here now with Brandon Jones coming out on top in both of the stages so far. Over 20 laps to go though, so plenty of time for chaos to kick off here. No green flag pit stops will be necessary in this third and final stage, so we will either be green to the end or we'll have an accident causing a caution here as we go down this back straightaway now, already fanning out 3 by 3 by 3. It's crazy how these drivers just don't hesitate to make aggressive moves, and Jay Cook, he's going to try and go 4 wide to the outside of Bubba Wallace, but he thought better of it and stayed in behind him here as I'm in behind David Schildhouse in that number 20 Advanced GG Chevrolet Camaro for that Rick Ware Racing team. So right now, once again, right in that spot that I prefer to be up ahead, Kyle Larson, he was kind of in a 4 wide position there, getting aggressive, and I was kind of leaving a little bit of room between myself and this pack ahead of us because I didn't want to risk it, but fortunately they sorted it out, and I would get right back up to David Schildhouse here as the middle lane really was not going, and that was allowing me to have an opportunity to close in once again towards the top 10. Looking really good for us here in these later stages of this race. Just 20 laps remain. We've done everything we needed to do so far, and that's keeping the car in one piece. 18 laps to go. Look at the run we have on the outside. Truex leading the middle this time, and once again not going. There's just seeing the sun starting to set here from Daytona. Now the lights should not have to come on unless it turns into a chaotic wreck fest from here, but they're going to go in our rear view mirror. You're going to see 4 wide. Cole Custer there, he's side by side with the 17 of Busher. Davison on the outside here now, and the 16 of Haley, he's going to go by on the inside. I'm trying to protect these 2 lanes because I don't want to find myself 4 wide in the middle, so I'm doing everything I can to keep that from happening. You see me right here trying to manage all the lanes, but it's not going to work for long. We're 4 wide in the middle as we go down into turn 3. The aggression at an all-time high, but fortunately we survive and we continue here in this just unbelievable display of racing in this Daytona 500. You have a breakaway up at the front and then a big separation, and then this big second back right here that we have found ourselves stuck in right now. I was actually up to the outside behind that number 18 of Kyle Busch, trying to get him pushed forward so we could try to run down the main group of cars, but it wasn't quite working the way I was hoping it would. So as we went down towards turn 1 now with 10 laps to go, you can see once again glued to the back of that 18 here. A big push as we come through the center of the corner, and we might have an opportunity to run down that group of cars in front of us, but Kyle got clear, jumped down, left me hanging, and I would drop like a rock after this had happened. And you would see the results right here coming to 8 to go. Everybody blowing by. Look how far away from the main pack we are. This is going to be huge for us here in these closing laps. Sorry, 9 laps to go, not 8 laps to go. Now Jeff Fabiano just behind myself, Stenhouse on the inside, and I was getting very annoyed with Stenhouse very quick, but unfortunately we drop all the way to the back, even at risk of potentially losing the slipstream, because look at the momentum that we just did not have, and somehow we are all of a sudden at risk of being completely out of this race. But we were really lucky, and we would just barely be able to hold on to that draft, and we would be right back into it, and eventually 2 packs would come back together. A part of 1 there, a little bit of contact with the 14 of Chase Briscoe, that kind of messed him over, but I knew I had to get on the move because I couldn't find myself in a spot that I just found myself in moments ago. So I was hauling the mail here in the middle. Look at that inside again, going absolutely nowhere, just backwards. I nearly slam into the back of the 17 there, a last second move, and up to the 3rd and outside lane we go in these closing moments of the Daytona 500 here in our Cup Series debut in this second Trackhouse expansion car. We haven't really been able to work with our teammate of Daniel Suarez today, unfortunately. Here now as we come through to 5 laps to go, Cody Ware leads, but there goes Ryan Newman with help from Jeff Fabiano, but they're coming up on the 21 car of Harrison Burton, who we saw pick up damage earlier in this race, and he might play a factor with how this is decided here as we come through at a turn 2 on the very top. You got Chase Elliott, you got myself here trying to get close up on the back of that 9 car for Hendrick Motorsports, but I just couldn't quite get there down the back straightaway. Sheldon Creed, he's up here in the mix as well as they go down into turn 3, but Burton planted directly in front of the leaders. Ryan Priest to the lead now as we exit turn 4, and now the 21's going to pull off and get out of the way as we go down the front straightaway, but myself and Chase Elliott, we are now finding ourselves moving forward. That big checkup on the inside from being stuck behind Burton really helped us here as we come through to 4 laps to go inside the top 5. Is it too early though? We've seen how the momentum has shifted back and forth, and I'm not sure if we made that move up here too early quickly, or is it going to be perfect here? Now, as it wasn't perfect because our momentum would once again die on the outside here now, and we were down towards 20th place in no time here, and they're about to be 4 wide just about again behind us. William Byron, though, he is going to get clear, and sure enough, they are 4 wide in the background there with Briscoe, our teammate of Suarez. 3 laps to go. We still go to the outside of that number 24 down into turn 1. We're going to get linked up with that 12 of Ryan Blaney. At this point, you just hope for the best. 3 laps to go. Not a whole lot we can do in the position that we have found ourselves in now, as at the end of that last lap there, James Davison was scored the leader of this race here from Daytona. Now, as we go down this back straightaway, a big run on the back of that number 12 as we go down into turn 3 here. Now, as no contact with the 12 of Blaney, we're involved, and there's going to be a big accident here in the Daytona 500. We're head on into the outside while multiple cars involved, including Stenhouse, Blaney, Cozy, Newman off the pace, and our front bumper torn completely off. The caution is out, and it happens so late in the race. No overtime is in iRacing AI Racing, and that is going to end the Daytona 500 here now, as there's just 2 laps to go, and James Davison is scored the leader of this race there now, as we had just a big moment there and head on into the wall we went. David Schoedhaus actually ran into the back of me as I cut across his front bumper, and we'll go on board with exactly what just caused that here for myself, and just a bit of a stack up. And as that happened, I clipped Blaney in the right rear quarter panel, and obviously you see the results of what happens after that. A mistake all from myself, unfortunately, here. And James Davison was in position to win the 500. Now, a bunch of drivers actually pit here coming to the final lap. I stay out trying to get some more positions. Unfortunately, though, the engine expires down the front straightaway. It blows out. I knew it was game over. I couldn't get back to the line here before the race would come to a completion, so I had to pull over and call it a day, and we lose a bunch of track position. But James Davison for Rick Ware Racing, the Australian, is going to come through under caution to win the Daytona 500 in front of Joey Logano. And that is not going to put him in the playoffs, because the playoffs, of course, are no longer a thing, thank goodness. But James Davison wins the Daytona 500. What a race there for James Davison. What an episode overall. What a return for this My Driver series here with the Daytona 500. It was time to take off here from the airstrip there just outside of the track and head all the way to the West Coast for the next episode, where we head to Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California. That is it for myself. If you guys enjoyed, you know what to do. Thank you so much for your continued support of this series. I really do hope you enjoyed it. I'm not going to bother showing the points because, well, the finishing results of this race is basically the points. So therefore, we'll start to do that here in the coming episodes. But thank you once again so much for the support. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day, everybody, and I'll see you in Auto Club.